Since I reviewed the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek, I thought it would be good if I shared my why with you. That being said, I think it's taken really a lot of years for my why to come into focus. I've always known that I wanted to work with children and in some way make the lives of children better. In my 20s, I tried to be a ski bum, but I ended up working in the childcare centers in the ski areas and eventually in a preschool. And I thought teaching would fulfill that need to make children's lives better. And that would be my what? I would be a teacher. And so I taught elementary school for 7 years in California. And at the end of my time, I was working in a school that um, where the students had a lot of challenges, and I didn't know how to meet those challenges. And as I looked into these eyes of these very young children, I felt like I was too late. It was too late to help them. I know that sounds very discouraging, but that's how I felt at that point. So at that time, my daughter was 2.5, and we moved back to New Mexico, and I wanted to be able to spend more time with her. So I did not go into teaching. I went into working with teen parents, and this is where my why started to become more crystal clear. So I was working with teen parents who were pregnant until their kids were 3 years old through a home visiting program, and that is when my why became really clear. Like I said, my why is now to support young children to 0 to 3. I believe in the impact of 0 to 3. Understanding that most brain development happens in the first 5 years, and how critical secure relationships are for children. I was working with these teen families that had very difficult stories. I had one teen mom she was 16 having her first child. Her mother was gone from her life. Her father was in jail. Her boyfriend was schizophrenic. It goes on and on. Yet this young mother had so much resiliency. And now her daughter's 10, and she's gone on to finish high school and start her career with Health and Human Services, and she continues to get promoted. And so I always thought, like, what is the resiliency? What allowed her to rise above her circumstance? And I believe it comes down to the secure attachment she had with her grandmother who raised her in her early years. And those secure attachments gave her the foundation to go on and have resilience in her life. And because of neurobiology, this has been confirmed, the importance of securely attached relationships in the early years. So it's my why. And now that it's my why, all of my decision making has been so clear in my career path. I moved from being a home visitor to developing programming for support groups and parenting classes for parents with young children. And then I realized, in New Mexico, our children are 50th. 50th. We are last for childhood well-being. So I understand that our kids are exposed to a higher number of adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress. The rates of abuse and poverty are much higher where I live than anywhere else in the country. And so my mind went to a place of systems, and that our systems are not prepared to work with these children. And so I started innovating my work by providing workforce development for providers that are working with young children, home visitors, teachers, early interventionists, therapists, child protective workers, foster families. Anyone who might come into the lives of young children has the capacity to support and create these securely attached relationships. So I've started to bring trauma-informed trainings and workshops to providers in my community, giving opportunities for reflective supervision. And the project I'm most proud of, we got $10,000 from the Brindle Foundation. And with that money, I mentored 17 professionals in acquiring their infant mental health endorsements, which would show that they have had training such that they understand how to meet the needs of children with trauma. And so I found in my why, I can amplify my message through my megaphone of creating secure attachments for young children by supporting those that come in contact with young children. It's very clearly my why. When I do projects around this, everything just flows. There's that synergy there because it passes the celery test. My behaviors are in line with my why. Where I have struggled is about a year ago, I took on the position of department director for my department. And so now I not only oversee the infant maternal family services, but also cancer support, benefit navigation for insurance needs, and a substance abuse coalition. Now, I took this job because I'm a single mom and I needed to make more money to support my kids, which doesn't really pass the salary test. And in this year, I've really struggled. I've struggled with the decisions that I have to make because my why is fuzzy. Not with the family programs that I continue to oversee. There I have this clarity of purpose. So that's sort of where I am now. I have a clear why, but not all my behaviors are passing the celery test right now. So, so I'm going to admit that I didn't, it took me a long time to read this book. In truth, I finished it this weekend and I started it like 5 weeks ago because his examples were very corporate, very business focused about selling. And it was hard for me. That didn't resonate because I've been in the social services, but I am glad that I read the book because it does help me get really clear about articulating my why and be able to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and to understand the other pieces as well. So I hope you found my presentation interesting and enlightening. And I would say that Simon Sinek has a lot of good things to say in this book. And certainly if corporate examples resonate with you, you'll probably enjoy it more than I did. I believe he also has a TED Talk by the same name, which I have not watched. So thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to hearing your posts on the discussion board.